Noah here for Extreme Terrain, and you're looking at the Raxium Axial Series 4-inch LED fog lights with halos fitting the 2007 to 18 Jeep Wrangler JK. Now, these fog lights are a great option for the JK owner who's looking to spice up their front end with some white LED halos. The stock fog lights in the JK are fine. They don't exactly do a whole lot for the front end, and they just blend in. Now, if you want your fog lights to stand out and make a statement, you're gonna need some LEDs and halos like the ones on these guys from Raxium. Now, we are looking at a full LED fog light with a white daytime running light halo that runs the outer ring of the housing. Now, these are the factory size at 4-inch, and they drop right in where the old ones were at, or in any location an aftermarket bumper may have the fog lights located. Now, they come as a pair, and last but not least, probably my favorite thing about them is that they have amber turn signals. Now, I think that looks really awesome, and it adds another element of cool to the overall look. Now, looking at the construction of these Raxium fog lights, they're gonna be hardy, and they're advertised to have some rugged durability as a step above those factory units. Now, the housings themselves are actually made from aluminum, not plastic, which is a serious plus. The lenses are also polycarbonate, which is what they make safety glasses out of, and both are actually epoxy sealed so moisture can't make its way inside the lens and hurt the LEDs or fog up the inside, even underwater or in a seriously wet environment. Now, the color temperature of these guys is 6,500 Kelvin, and they both feature 5-watt high-intensity CREE LEDs, and they have a lifespan of 50,000 hours runtime. So the halo fogs from Raxium are gonna come in around $135 for the pair. Now, that price falls pretty on par with most other aftermarket fog light options on our site, and when it comes to fog light shopping, you really get to choose exactly what you want for a similar price to most other options, which is pretty uncommon for most upgrades. You're only in for an install difficulty of 1 out of 3 wrenches in an hour for that install time. Putting some aftermarket fog lights on your JK is nothing to be worried about, and if you're still unsure, you're in luck, because up next we've got an XT customer who's going to walk you through that install process on their JK step by step.
Alright, so the tools that I used for this installation were a Phillips head screwdriver, a socket wrench, a 3-inch socket extension, a Phillips head socket attachment, and some WD-40 for that corroded hardware. That came in handy. It made things a lot easier. I used those for the actual removal of the old fog lights and installation of the new ones. For all the wire work, electrical work, I used some fish line shears, electrical tape. I used some pliers, just basic pliers, to crimp on these quick splicers. These were pretty useful. These came in handy. Made the job a lot easier. First time using them, I was very happy with them. I ended up using some wire cutters for when scissors wouldn't cut it. I also used some zip ties to tie everything down and get everything looking clean, tucked away. I used a caged work light and, of course, some safety glasses. There's a lot of dirt, a lot of dust that's going to be under there, and if you don't have these, you're going to be wiping your eyes pretty frequently. Alright guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to change out your factory or aftermarket fog lights for the 4-inch axial LEDs with the halo. So I've got an aftermarket bumper on, and these fog lights are wider set. So I'll actually be able to get to it without taking off the bumper. But if you have the original, then you're probably going to need to take that off to get access to this. Alright, so first things first, go ahead and unplug your old light. It's pretty easy. You just press on this clip here, pull out. It's the easiest clip I've ever pulled. Alright guys, so next thing you're going to want to do is unscrew these 4 Phillips head screws right here. They're not on there very tight. Once you kind of break the tension on it, pretty much just screw them out. You can hand screw them. And if it makes it any easier, get a socket extension. pretty simple. What I'm noticing here is that you need to push the screw back because it's got a nut on the other side that it's holding on to. You did this without the aid of an actual socket now. Just turn this into a screwdriver. Alright, come down. There you go. Alright, I'm gonna take this off because the clearance for this top one is not really there. You could probably, well, I don't know. A screwdriver would be this is probably about the perfect size screwdriver right now. This tiny thing to actually get in here for my situation. Again, I'm pushing the screw from the back so that this lock washer will actually have some tension as I'm unscrewing the screw from it. Otherwise, it's just free spinning the whole time. Alright, there's two. Bear with me, guys. Save your bolts and what am I trying to say? Make sure you save your lock nuts. Last one. Alright, it's coming out. Alright, last one. Got it. Alright, next step is going to be to pull this out. This pops right up. Not too bad. Grab your axial 4-inch LED. Alright, so the next step is going to be grabbing your new axial LED fog light. Make sure that it's up and down. You've got the writing up top. Make sure that's legible. You've got this little square. I don't know if you can see that. That's going to be at the bottom. Make sure this is upright. The adjustment screw is actually going to be on the left side as well. One thing that I'm doing is putting these screws in, threading these screws into the plastic housing before I actually go ahead and put it in there, because they're a little bit hard to get in, and you want to make this as easy as possible. So go ahead and get them at least halfway screwed in. Also, if your hardware is a little bit corroded, a little rusty, helps to put a little bit of lubrication on them, because you don't want to be fighting with that once it's in there. I know these lock nuts were a little bit rusty, you can see, so they weren't grabbing quite right. Now it's upside down. Don't put it in like this. Put it in like this. Alright. So that's in there. Grab one of your lock nuts. Go ahead and match it up to the back. Once it catches, that should hold. You can grab your tools. And I'm just holding the lock nut on the back to make sure that it's being threaded into. Alright, I'm not tightening these down all the way for this little, I guess you could say, dry fit. But it will once they're all in there. Okay. Last one. Get this one in there a little more. There it is. If you have a stubby screwdriver, that's great for this. I don't, so I'm just using a socket attachment. For this one, there's not enough clearance for me to use a regular screwdriver. And once they're all biting into it, you can tighten it down a little more. For this top left one, I've got to use a socket wrench. You want it to be snug, but not too tight. You don't want to break anything. That's good. And this top right one. Right. It's secure. Next thing is going to be to take your original harness plug. We've got this adapter. Go ahead and plug in this side to your original wiring. Snaps in pretty easy. This side goes to your light plug. And then these two guys, you have to wire this one into your turn signal and this one into your fog lights. So I'll be splicing these together in a minute. I'll show you the tools that I've got for that. All right guys, so now I'm going to show you how to remove your front side marker lights so that you can splice into them. It's right here. All right. So to save yourself some trouble, you can actually just turn this a quarter turn counterclockwise and pull out the bulb. If you do decide to take out this bulb, you're gonna have to lubricate the gasket in here. Otherwise, it's just gonna keep pushing. It's gonna have too much friction, and you're gonna be struggling for a minute like I was. So lubricate that gasket if you do take this out, but you don't have to. Next step is going to be splicing into this white wire here. Your black is your ground, your white is your actual positive. So I'm going to be stripping this back and splicing into it using a quick splicer. Alright, so the next step is going to be taking your quick splicer, wrapping it around this white and green wire from your front side marker light. Get it in there. So it's in line with that. Alright, now take your extension wire that we added to the blue wire on the back of the LED fog light. Go ahead and insert it from the back end. It's open. Alright, got it in there. If you can see this, got the yellow wire and the green wire in there. Alright, so next step is going to be to close this metal connection down. Closed in there. Close this little door. Get the door closed on. Alright, now last step is to crimp it. Some pliers. Tighten that thing down. Make sure that all your wires are secure. Nothing's coming loose. Alright, you can go ahead and reinsert this bulb into your front side marker. Put it in there. Once it clicks, go ahead and turn it a quarter turn clockwise. Alright, next I'm going to go ahead and plug these in. Probably want to tape these afterwards. I'll show that in a minute. Again, this one's going to your side marker light. This one will be going to your turn signals. I'm going to go ahead and wrap these up with electrical tape just for security. If you've got heat shrink, that's probably best. But if you can, try to mate these, connect them. There we go. Same for this one. Try to lap one side over the other. There we go. And honestly, you could probably just tape this end here, each one of these ends, instead of the whole thing. Since we got a pretty good seal right here. Now, for whatever reason you want to disconnect these, it won't be a pain like this. Alright, so turn signal and front side marker light. Now you're going to want to remove your other front side marker light. Flip in here, access to it here. I turn it clockwise on this side to undo it, pull it out. What we're looking for here, this is dirty. I'm going to wipe it off to actually see that they're two different colors. But you've got a white and green wire right here, and then the black is the ground. We're going to be tapping into the white and green. Alright, so here I'm just going to be cutting back a little bit of this electrical cover. Again, to get access to the wire we're going to be tapping into. See, that might be enough. Take your quick splicer. Go ahead and feed it in. There we go. And I've got the cord for the blue wire. All right. Now I'm gonna feed in the extension wire for the blue wire. Close down this gate. All right, you can see it's actually making contact there. And the rest of the way, you just crimp it on. Make sure you close this gate. There we go. All right, good to go. All right, so once you've got everything wired in, go ahead and reinstall it. Once it clicks in, give it a quarter turn counterclockwise. Last step is going to be zip tying your slack out of the way. So now we're just going to tie in our yellow line from the halo into this white and gray line. This is going to be your turn signal. Grab your quick splicer. Wrap that around. All right, you got that one in there. Go ahead and drop the LED line in. Close it down. Close that gate. And then crimp down the connection. All right, now you just need to take your old harness, plug it into this adapter, and then plug the other end into your light.
Those were the Raxium Axial Series 4-inch LED fog lights with halos fitting the 2007 to 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK. For all things Wrangler, go ahead and keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.